Welcome back, guys. Manking Coder here, bringing you another computer video. And this time we're taking a look at a 1982 Zenith Z-120. I've wanted a working one of these for a very long time, and in December, around December 16th, a guy by the name of Jonathan contacted me out of the blue. I didn't remember talking to him, and asked me if I wanted this and some other stuff he offered, but I wasn't really interested in any PCs at the time. So when I saw this, though, I was like, yes, I will take it. And if I remember correctly, I paid him $20 for this thing. And he was gracious enough to deliver it to me at my work, of all places, because we couldn't get a time to meet otherwise. So he met me on my break, and I went and threw it in my car, and we talked a bit about things. And yeah, it was quite interesting, and thank you, Jonathan, for giving me this computer, or selling me this computer, really. I contacted him about some software, because he had some other Zenith labeled stuff, but I don't know if it might have been too new, because it was called Zenith DOS. And this thing could run ZDOS, it says, and also CP/M. Now, I don't have any 5.5-inch floppy disks anymore, so this is going to be kind of a short video, and I haven't been able to get any software for it. So I just kind of wanted to show it off and talk about it. And I know I did a video on one of these already, but it wasn't working. When I got this machine, the reason I got it so cheap is because he didn't know if it was working either. The screen didn't come on when he went to go turn it on. It did the disk checking and stuff like that, which my one never did, my other one. And so I had a suspicion that it might work. So because I poked around on one of these already, I knew that there was a brightness knob on the back. So I went around to the back, and it was snapped off. And so I took a file and filed a notch in it, and took a regular flathead screwdriver and turned it up, and sure enough, it was alive. It worked. So let's go ahead and turn this thing around so I can show you the back and talk a bit more about the ports and stuff. From what I've been able to find out, I don't really know too much about this thing. One more interesting thing about my computer here is that it used to be Navy property, apparently. There was another identification sticker on it, but I took it off because it was really ratty. And so I left these on because it's pretty cool. Now, as you can see, it says all the same kind of stuff. Mine is a Zenith Z-120, as marked on the back there. Apparently there was also a Z-89. It looked identical. Not exactly sure what the difference is here. As you can see, all the same ports the last time. I won't really go into any more detail about it because I haven't really learned anything more about it, to be honest. So rather than stumble over my toes, I will just leave that unsaid. Now, as you can see here, this is what I had to do. There was just barely a nubbin on there. And I have got the part to repair this now, so I will get around to doing that. But I had to take a file and file a notch in there and adjust it that way. And it just barely worked, but I was able to get the brightness up, and it does work. Alright, so before we go and turn it on, let's go ahead and pry the top off, because apparently there's some different things about this thing that I didn't know about, and makes it a little more interesting. I was talking on a CP/M user group about this, and someone said they wanted to see the inside because it had more RAM than it should have. So let's go ahead and take the top off, and I'll try and show it as much detail as I can. These things are always so finicky. Super finicky. Oh, to get off. There we go, there's one side. Try and keep it lifted up. It's a good design in theory, but I'm not sure it stands up the test of time. There we go. Actually, it came out pretty easy that time. Alright, so this backmost card seems to be the RAM expansion card that people wanted me to take pictures of. So there it is. I don't know anything about this stuff. It's a little older than my expertise in computers goes till. So if anybody knows anything about that, please let me know. I'll go ahead and slide that guy back in there and hopefully not hurt anything. I was a little afraid to take it out, to be honest, because it just wasn't coming. No, it just won't go back in. Come on, get in there. Go in there. Stand all the way. Hope so. Let me turn it around, maybe. There are discs there, disk drives, the 2 disk drive, 5 1/4 inch disk drive, half height. Your CRT controller board, obviously the CRT, monochrome. Power supply, your expansion card slots, there are 4 of them. 2 of which are used. One seems to be the disk controller, one seems to be a memory expansion. And the motherboard sits down underneath everything. You can't really get at it unless you want to take everything apart, it seems. So, that is the internals of this thing. So let's go ahead and fire it up. Alright, so last but not least, let's go ahead and turn it on and show you that it actually does work. This is a noisy system, but I like noisy systems, so that is alright. Little cursor blinks in the corner there. I don't know if you can even see that. Glares like right on the side of the screen where it shows. Takes a while to boot up. Now, it gives me a device error. Sometimes it says no boot disk. Sometimes it says other things. So, however, if we go and hit help, it gives us all these options, and you can basically do a couple of things here. Now, if you type in system, oh shit, system, oh, it came up there. It says 448 kilobytes of contiguous RAM, 32 kilobytes of video memory, monochrome. Now, apparently that's a lot of RAM and video memory for this thing. It's supposed to have less. So at some point mine's been expanded, which I guess makes sense because it's a Navy computer. Sadly, that is about the extent of what I can show because I don't have any software for this thing as of yet. And I did just talk to Jonathan, and unfortunately the discs he have are for a DOS machine from the late 80s and not for this thing. My hopes were a little bit up because they said Zenith on them, and they were DOS, and this thing has the ability to run CP/M and Z-DOS, not MS-DOS. Z-DOS, not compatible. And unfortunately, that's not what those discs are, so I have to go back on the search. If, by any chance, any of you have any software for this thing, or have the ability to get any, or make me copies any, I would gladly pay you shipping or whatever you want for it, because I would love to be able to use this thing, if nothing else, than for some dumb, word processing and things like that. It would just be super cool to have sitting in my room here to use for something like that, because, I don't know, it just has that early 80s, late 70s kind of aesthetic, and as you might be able to tell from some of my background decorations, I'm really into the 70s. So I would really like to get it working completely. Have software for it. Obviously it works, but have software for it. So that's it. I'm making Corduroy. Hopefully you found this interesting, and I shall see you guys in the next video. It should probably be on something a little more complete than this system, and hopefully a little more entertaining, because there wasn't too much fun to show here. But I have software for the other stuff I want to show. So I shall see you guys in the next video, and thank you for watching.